Children are the future of every society. It is common to hear people talk about children being the future, for parents to try and do things for their children. Every parent wants their child to grow up and be successful. But what happens when the state wants the same? What happens when the state defines success, defines what it means to be a good adult, a good citizen? Today, we see this all over the world. Children in the US, for example, are told to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, are told to uphold certain values and rights. If we take a look at a US passport, it is printed on the pages the American values which we should uphold. My own US passport shows us exactly the citizen we are supposed to be, what we represent, and what message we should be spreading from the world abroad. When we leave American soil, we automatically become an ambassador and representative of our own country, something our passport reminds us of. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, in order to assure the survival and the success of liberty. John F. Kennedy. From birth, we are reminded as Americans who we should be, but the same is true throughout the world. Children are seen as the backbone and future of a country, and spreading values through them will reinforce those same values for the future. Children are seen as actors by the state, not treated as ignorant, but instead treated as independent thinkers and actors. Juan Perón, his wife Evita, and his regime knew this and took full advantage of it. Juan and Evita Perón are the most dominant figures in 20th century Argentine politics, and with a fleet of propaganda pushed during their regime, Peronism became a mainstay in Argentine politics up to the present day. Juan Perón helped take power in Argentina in 1943 with a military coup, and was elected to the presidential office 3 times, twice in 1946 and 1952, and once after his return from exile in 1973. In fact, Peronist parties still dominate Argentine politics almost 50 years after his death in 1974. The largest Peronist party in Argentina today, the Partido Justicialista, holds half of the seats in the Argentine Senate. Juan's wife, Evita, a famous actress from an impoverished background, was absolutely adored by the Argentine public, and she, above anyone, played the most important role in the lives of children under the Peronist regime. In 1950, Evita made her and her husband's relationship with children clear, with this statement in her speech to the Argentine provincial governors in 1950.
We will try to bring Peronism to the soul of the Argentine child, because we reserve the right to see that Argentine children learn to love the fatherland and Perón from the cradle. Because now, all Argentine children, I believe, even before they learn to say Papa, should say Perón.
The Eva Perón Foundation was established in 1948 and was instrumental in the state apparatus in making the Perón regime appeal to the masses. The Eva Perón Foundation established a personal relationship between the ruler and the ruled, with Evita being the figurehead for a united Argentine state. By 1950, the Eva Perón Foundation controlled assets of some 200 million, and its projects took priority over those of the government. The foundation constructed housing, hospitals, schools, and every Christmas would send out 5 million toys and 5 million bottles of cider and pieces of cake as Christmas presents to the Argentine children. Every gift bore a message from Evita and her husband. Those children, decades later, still spoke of their admiration and deep feeling the gifts gave them. The Eva Perón Foundation had ambitious projects such as La Ciudad Infantil, an initiative that took 2 city blocks of Buenos Aires and converted it into a daycare and children's education center. The Perons were devoted to children and their education, in a society where children had constant reminders of the Perons as their schools, hospitals, and streets were named after them. It was normal to see the names of Evita and Juan in their education. To see those two in their textbooks and picture books was normal. Literature is a large part of the forming of a child's mind. They read picture books from a young age. Those images correlate with words to create meaning. In the 1999 article, Children's Books Visual Literacy, the authors write, A picture book must have both an engaging and appealing art. The two work in concert to create meaning through transaction with the reader. This makes us ask, what elements of a book appeal to a reader, whether it be children or adults? How do these elements create certain emotions? These different elements include lines, color, technique, texture, composition, and diction. All these elements add to visual literacy, which is the ability to construct meaning from visual images. From a nation's perspective, it is important to note the use of symbols within the pages of a children's book. The idea of the nation itself is tied very closely with childhood. The word nation refers to the idea of being born, and thereby localizes and connects a prime term in identity to the personal identity of those individual subjects for whom the nation is home. Simple symbols such as the colors red, white, and blue in the United States or the Tyrol eagle in Hungary are simple and effective ways to instill what it means to be part of a nation to a child. It is important to remember that the idea of the nation does not exactly constitute every single citizen of a certain country. It is instead citizens that fall within that definition of a national citizen. Representations of the citizen can easily become exclusionary and at many times prejudiced and racist, as we can most boldly see from Nazi propaganda and children's literature such as Der Giftpilz and its blatant anti-Semitism. And even with such a broad and all-encompassing version of nationalism, like Peronism, there are still those who are excluded from Perón's idea of Argentina. Privilegiados is one of the many children's books produced during the Peronist regime. This book was specifically geared towards 6-year-old children and is produced to help develop reading and writing skills. Basic words such as tomate and tia are alongside words such as avida. Looking at these pages, we see that avida is placed alongside the mother in the book, while also being placed as an object of the most basic building blocks of learning, like spelling and sounds that are part of basic Argentine Spanish. It includes phrases such as Ava loved mom, and Ava loved me. Equating the strong familial emotion, love, with Ava, with the Perons, solidifies the maternal relationship between Evita and the Argentine children. Evita, within this picture, is not only seen as a motherly figure to the child, but to the mother itself, and is in a place that holds more importance to the child than her mother. She is deity-like in her presence on the page. The phrases being in past tense makes her seem almost mythical. This book was published in 1954, 2 years after Evita's death. Her image at this time has not been forgotten by the regime and has not been forgotten in the present day. Evita, like Juan, enter an almost Christ-like position in the Argentine conscience, them attempting to replace the religion which dominates Argentina, Christianity. Evita was the best piece of propaganda the Peronist regime ever held, her image becoming more well-known than her husband's. She acted as even the ambassador of Argentina, meeting with world leaders in place of Juan. She became the mother of Argentina. In these pages, Evita is not only a mother, but a teacher. As the children look onto what she is writing, the soft green color behind her eliminates any sense of intimidation, and her smile tells the reader she is both kind and approachable. But the suit she wears and the dark color it beholds is evident of a sort of confidence, respect, and intelligence. She is both strong, caring, intelligent, and respected, and so is the Peronist regime. The children look in awe at Evita and hold her in high attention. She is the focus of the picture, she is the focus of their attention. Evita is the representative of the regime, she is the center of attention, so therefore, so is the regime. Evita is just as important as basic spelling, as the mother and the home, and therefore the regime is just as important as well. The home is what Evita and Perón invade within these texts. In Helen Martin's 1935 study on nationalism in children's literature, she writes, "The home story tends to be the most nationalistic. The home is what connects people to their nation. The concept of Heimat, meaning homeland, is one of the most prominent words used in German nationalism. In Perón's unique flavor of populistic nationalism, he is all-encompassing. In both work, the home, and the state, within Peronism, Perón is synonymous with the nation, and the nation is synonymous with the people. Perón is Argentina." In these pages, there is a common theme. There are illustrations of the people, a public demonstration, people in the streets, with May the 1st plastered upon the upper center of the page. The demonstration is so large that it spills over the page and is present upon both. This spillover tells us just how passionate the people are in this demonstration, that they cannot even be confined to a single page. May 1st, also known as May Day, is an international workers' holiday and is celebrated in countries around the world. Peron took over the celebrations from May Day, converting it from a socialist to a Peronist occasion. The eyes of the people at the forefront of the page are big and wide, the lines are stark and the colors bright. On the page of the overspill there is a bright blue color washing over the shapes of the people, indicating movement. This movement indicates cheerful and energetic emotion. The background constitutes Buenos Aires, and the faces of the people begin to fade, as it becomes evident that this is a massive crowd. All of this is to indicate to a child, a future worker, that Peron is a leader for the people, someone that both their parents and themselves should look up to, someone widely loved both in the home but also in public spaces, that people are so passionate about that they fill the streets. Above them all is the image of Peron. The picture is full of joy and passion and is similar to other spots within the book. But this picture also portrays Peron as both with and above the people. He is part of the people, but is superior to them. While they learn to spell, read, and write, they are learning just where Peron belongs in their lives. The colorful images and scenes of elation are captivating for anyone, let alone a 6-year-old child learning how to read. These images instill a sense of gratefulness toward the regime, toward Peron, something that they will carry into their adulthood as voters and policymakers. In these next pages, there is a sense of wonder and ecstasy. A juxtaposition appears between the two sections, Mi Madre and Dia de Fiesta. The first page is a little girl's, describing how valuable her mother is and how much she loves her, while the second page describes a day of celebration where planes fly over the city, and the trains are filled with impassioned Argentines. The first section has a description of just how caring and hard-working the girl's mother is, while the second describes a city in which the windows are stained white and blue. These images create a sense of pride. Pride is in the essence of privilegiados, and in the pages, the reader is told both to be prideful in their parents and their government. And it is quite obvious who that government and those rulers are. With Peron plastered on banners drawn on the second page, the elation a child must feel not only to be an Argentine, but a Peronist must be immense. Children are active participants within politics because they are the future of it. The Peronist regime saw that, and they exploited it. It was not Peron's goal to have a short-term presidency, it was instead his goal to become a mainstay in Argentine politics, and he most certainly achieved this. After his death, Peronist ideas have lived on, and this is due to the installation of Peron and his wife Evita as mythical figures within the narrative of Argentina. They are, without a doubt, the most influential people in Argentine history. The influence of these children in 1954 Argentina can be felt today, and as the 20th century progressed, those children became powerful figures in Argentine politics, joining Peronist youth movements and groups that eventually became mainstays in Peronist political parties. Peron even returned to power in 1973. He did not take power by force, but was instead voted in. The Argentine people loved the Perons, and that love was fostered within every child under Peronist rule.